Kia has just released its 2030 plan, and it doesn't actually make any sense. It really doesn't. I've done the numbers, I've added things up, and it's based on their numbers in particular for battery costs, battery energy density, and sales figures, and it just doesn't add up. I must be missing something. Please let me know what I'm missing in the comment section below. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. I'm coming to you here from Bendigo. Yep, Bendigo in Melbourne, Australia. It's about 2.5 hours away from Melbourne. It's a little town, sort of in the middle of nowhere, really, and it's got a very interesting BMX track here. There's going to be a whole lot of crashes this weekend. I hope that my boys aren't involved in any of them. But seeing as it's going to be raining tomorrow, yeah, I don't like my chances. So wish me luck. Kia, they're going to need some luck as well. Kia are planning, right, on selling 4 million vehicles in 2030. They claim this year they'll sell 3.2 million. Last year they sold 2.7 million. However, Kia are saying they only plan on producing 1.2 million EVs in 2030. That means 2.8 million of the vehicles that they sell will be powered by petrol. Now, based on Kia's numbers, I don't see how this actually makes any sense at all. Now, what I'm so confused by is the fact that Kia makes, well, they just won World Car of the Year for the EV6. For good reason. It's a brilliant EV. The thing is freaking awesome. Honestly, come on. I mean, there's nothing you can get from other legacy auto companies I'm talking about the Germans, by the way, here, from BMW, Mercedes, Audi, in this price range. That's basically supercar level. The EV6 in its top specification with the 440 kilowatt dual motor version, that thing is basically a freaking supercar. But it's half the price. In fact, it's the standard model EV6 is literally less than half the price of the Jaguar electric car that won World Car of the Year only 2 years ago. By the way, that car's virtually dead now. I'll put a link in the description below to why it's died. Cars like the EV6 are the reason that it's died. But anyway, getting back to the EV6, it's a brilliant car. Key problem here, right? Australia has sold out of their EV6 allocation for 3 years. That is the same situation in a number of countries around the world. Kia just isn't making very many of them. So let's have a look at what Kia's actually planning to do over the next 8 years and why I just can't work out how they think this makes any sense at all. First, I want to point out, Kia plans on bringing out a whole bunch of EVs. One of those EVs that they bring out next year is called the EV9. That thing is freaking cool. It is freaking awesome. If you haven't seen it, I haven't made a video about it, but I should because it's awesome. I love it. And if they bring that thing out next year and it's what they say it will be, which I think it will, then I will seriously consider one. If I can get one, that is. I mean, yeah, I don't like my chances, but yeah, it's cool. Now, Kia announced at the company's 2022 CEO Investor Day virtual event its new strategic plan referred to as the Roadmap to 2030. This reveals the accelerated transition to EVs. They claim that this is accelerated. But to be fair, let's use some context. Kia says it's going to produce 1.2 million EVs in 2030. What about BYD, right? BYD, what are their numbers for 2025? 5 years before that, 3.5 million. What about SAIC, a Chinese car company that most people have never heard of? Well, SAIC are planning on 5 million vehicle deliveries in 2025. But just to give you some context, XPeng are saying they'll hit 300,000 this year. BYD will easily hit 1.5 million this year. 8 years before Kia plans on hitting 1.2 million. That's just a small snippet of the electric car manufacturers in China. That's going to be a huge battle for Kia. Now, Kia expects that by 2030, its global sales will increase to 4 million units from the 3.2 million they plan on hitting this year. Now, that means that more than 2 million, in fact, 2.8 million, will be powered by petrol or diesel or gas or some kind of internal combustion engine. Now, the part that I'm not quite understanding here is what they said next. Kia says it will source its batteries from a multitude of different suppliers, maybe 3 or 4, smart move. However, It expects, based on its internal numbers here, that battery costs will decrease by 40% by 2030, and energy cell density will increase by 50%, right? So what does that mean? That would mean, say, a car like the EV6. The cost to make the battery would be around about 70% lower. Obviously, seeing as the battery is the majority of the cost of any EV, that would mean potentially they could sell an EV6 for, hang on, a lot less money than an internal combustion engine similar vehicle. So Kia's planning on selling 2.8 million, or nearly 75% of all cars it sells in 2030, as being the less profitable version for more money. Who exactly in the world, in their right mind, is going to pay more money for a car that isn't as good in 2030? Kia thinks there's 2.8 million of them. Kia, in fact, thinks that majority of people who buy Kias are fundamentally retarded and will stay that way until 2030. That's what they're saying. Listen to this again. Our plan includes a 50% increase in energy density and a 40% decrease in cost by 2030. Now, let's say if we just ignored the 40% decrease in cost altogether. That's huge, but let's say we just ignored that. That would mean if there's a 50% increase in energy density, they could more than halve the size of their batteries. Why could they more than halve them? Well, think about this, right? The battery is extremely heavy. If you took their current 77 kilowatt hour battery and you halved that because now you have double the energy density, the car is going to be about 200 kilos lighter. So you're still going to get more range even if you halve the size of the battery. So you can see here, right, then you apply on top of that the 40% decrease in cost. You're looking at a car that would be significantly cheaper to manufacture than a comparable ICE vehicle. So seriously, who are they going to sell all these petrol cars to? They're going to cost more money than battery-powered cars. I don't understand. Am I missing something? Please let me know in the comment section below. I really am baffled. Now, what else did Kia say? Kia said it's going to make 17 different EVs by 2027. And by 2027, it plans on selling around 1 million EVs. So if they have 14 EVs and they sell about 1 million EVs in total, then that means on average, each EV will sell about 70,000 vehicles per year globally. What I'm struggling to understand is how that makes financial sense. Only 70,000 vehicles for one production line. But not only one production line, you also need the tooling to make that specific car's panels and parts and everything else that goes on it. So sure, you might use a similar platform, but there's a lot more that goes into a car than just the platform. There's the chassis, there's the body, there's the plastic molding that goes on the interior that has to be different because it's a different size of car. I'm not really sure why it would make financial sense to do that. What would make more sense to me would be to have, say, 8 models or 6, and then per model, you'll have more than 100,000 vehicle sales per model. That would make more financial sense. However, here is some interesting news. And it sort of gives you an idea of the kind of car company that Kia plans on becoming. That is, they appear to plan on becoming an electric pickup truck company. To some degree, at least their electrified models will be anyway. Primarily pickup trucks. At least that is what they said in this press conference. They said they plan on having 11 models by 2026, which have now changed to 14 models by 2027. But they've said that those 3 models they've added to get from 11 to 14 are going to be 2 of them pickup trucks. They said this: there will be 3 additional electric vehicles, including 2 electric pickup trucks, a dedicated electric pickup truck, and a strategic model for emerging markets, and an entry-level car model. So the strategic model for entry-level car markets is obviously their smaller pickup truck, something like a Ford Ranger. Their other one is obviously the full-size pickup truck for the American car market. Now, let's have a look at how many batteries they're going to use per car. This is where it just doesn't make sense. Kia is saying the energy density of their batteries will double, right, by this period in time. According to the plan, Kia expects that its lithium-ion battery demand will increase from 13 gigawatt hours in 2022 to 119 gigawatt hours by 2030. Considering they're going to sell 1.2 million EVs, that's close to 100 kilowatt hours per battery pack on average per car. But they're saying energy density would double. So if each battery pack is, say, on average 95 kilowatt hours based on these numbers, that means they'll have this essentially 190 kilowatt hours on today's energy density. So where are they going to put all these 190 kilowatt hour battery packs? Well, the only way that this could possibly make any sense is by assuming that they are saying they're going to become a big supplier of electric pickup trucks. Otherwise, these figures just don't make any sense at all, because really, you've got to consider all the smaller cars that Kia sell. I mean, why would you ever need a 195 kilowatt hour battery pack in a Kia EV6? And I'm not saying literally 195, I'm saying based on today's energy density, so double that figure. So why would you need that? I mean, that's going to give you probably 1,500 kilometers of range. I don't think anyone's going to be demanding that. And that's not going to be the average. So clearly, the only way they could come to this number is if we assume they're saying that at least half of the vehicles they sell that are electric will be pickup trucks, and big ones, by 2030. So that's an interesting figure here. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if Kia actually realizes these numbers, does the maths, gets their calculator out, because I sort of just looked at these numbers and I went, hang on, this doesn't add up. Something funny is going on here. Or they're planning on becoming an electric pickup truck company. There's either that, they didn't do the numbers, or that is the answer. Now, interestingly, Kia plans to supply batteries from an Indonesian battery cell joint venture and will simultaneously establish a stable battery supply and demand system by outsourcing to global battery companies. What about manufacturing? Well, Kia's facilities in South Korea will carry the primary role in the transition to electric vehicles. However, the company would like to produce all electric cars in various other markets as well. Now, here is their plan specifically. Europe, small and medium-sized EVs will be produced starting from 2025. US, electric versions of mid-sized SUVs and pickup trucks will be produced from 2024. China, mid-sized electric vehicle models will be introduced from 2023. And India, entry and mid-sized EV models will be produced from 2025. Now, here's Kia's new electrification roadmap in short. Overall electric vehicle sales in 2030, 1.2 million. Like I said, I believe that if that's the case, if they're only going to sell 1.2 million EVs in 2030 or produce that many, they're planning on selling 4 million cars in total. I think it's more likely they'll sell about 1.4 million vehicles in 2030. So because it just doesn't make sense that 2.8 million people would want to buy an inferior product for more money. Doesn't add up. 2022 target, 160,000 electric vehicles. Worth considering some context here. BYD will hit that number at some point, probably November or December of this year. Tesla, yeah, they'll probably hit that a couple of times this year. And I'm talking a single month. 2028 target, 807,000 electric vehicles, 21% of Kia's total. So Kia is saying only 21% of its vehicle sales in 2028 will be electric. Profitability, at least 8.3% operating profit margin overall by 2026. Now compare that to someone like Tesla, their profitability is closer to 30%. Now my key question is, Tesla manufactured nearly 1 million electric cars last year. Why will it take Hyundai Group, a big legacy auto company, 9 years from now to get to 1.2 million? That to me seems very, very conservative. It seems like Hyundai are doing what the Japanese manufacturers are doing, and that is sitting on the fence. Is that a good strategy moving forward? You let me know in the comments below what you think. Have a great day, and I'll see you again on the next video. Bye-bye.